If you're interested in understanding loan modifications, we did a wonderful in-depth special on Money Matters. We did a 2-hour special where I took you inside the secrets of the loan modification industry. We read from the actual manual that the loan modification experts use with the company. It is life-changing. If you know anyone, make sure you go look at our video library, and we have a 2-hour show dedicated specifically for loan modification. It is awesome show. Now, those are the two separate bankruptcies. One is a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Is basically a liquidation where if you have any assets, they are able to take your assets, or they're able to hold off and you don't have to pay anyone, depending on the type of asset it is. That's a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The Chapter 13 bankruptcy is when you restructure a repayment at a lower rate. Some of the debt is forgiven, and you're able to get into a repayment plan. And with the repayment plan, you're actually able to take your old mortgage that you have, and you're able to spread that out over 60 months. Now, those are the two bankruptcy types. Now, bankruptcy costs money. It's not like you can just go down to the courthouse and say, hey, I want to file bankruptcy. Fill out a piece of paper, and you have to just go away. No. What happens is that there are certain fees. Now, your attorney, depending on the attorney, they might charge $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, depending on the attorney that you get. But there is a minimum amount of fees that you have to pay when you file bankruptcy, and I'm about to let you know what they are. When you do a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, there are associated fees. It would cost you $245 for a case filing fee. There's $245 for a case filing fee. Then there's $39 for a administrative fee, $39 for a miscellaneous administrative fee, and then $15 for a trustee fee. That is a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. A Chapter 7 bankruptcy, the minimum fees are $245 for a case filing fee, $39 for a miscellaneous fee, and $15 for a trustee fee. Now, a Chapter 13 bankruptcy is where you have to pay $1,000 for the case filing fee, and then $39 for the administrative fee. There is no trustee fee when you file the Chapter 13 because you're making payments to them on a continual basis. But the Chapter 13 is $1,000 case filing fee, the minimum, and a $39 administrative fee. That is the minimum that you have to do for filing bankruptcy. Now, so if you're thinking about filing bankruptcy, I consider that I would tell you I want you to make sure that you get with a good quality counselor, get with a good bankruptcy attorney so they're able to tell you how you're able to rebuild your credit after filing bankruptcy. It is extremely important that you have a game plan for filing bankruptcy. What bankruptcy does to you, it's a humiliating situation in most cases. Some people have such a pride about what their credit score is. They have such a high regard for what makes they feel like their credit makes them. But I have to let you know, nothing on your credit lasts forever. Yes, tough times come, but tough people last, tough times never last. What does that mean? Anything that happens to your credit, whether it's a foreclosure or it's a bankruptcy, you have the ability to repair your credit if you are methodical and if you plan your steps, if you live life on purpose. If you do not live life by happenstance, but you live life on purpose, then you will be able to repair your credit. It's important that you do not live your life as a wandering generality, but you live your life as a meaningful specific. What does that mean? You do not live your life as a wandering generality, but you live your life as a meaningful specific. You just don't live by happenstance. You just don't say whatever comes, I'm just going to go with the flow. No, that's not how you do it when you're trying to rebuild your credit and you're trying to build your life. You have to be a meaningful specific. That's someone who says, I go to work and I work these hours because this is what I have to do. This is my goal. This is my drive. This is my focus. 6 months from now, I'm going to be here. 12 months from now, I'm going to be here. That is a meaningful specific. That's the people who live life on purpose, and those are the ones who get the best out of life. Those are the ones that are able to bounce back quickly out of a bankruptcy. The first thing you need to do after you file bankruptcy is to look in the mirror and be completely honest with yourself. Do not lie. Be honest with yourself. Whenever you go into the mall and you're looking for a store and you look on the map, they say you are here. You have to first look on your map to see where you are to determine where you're going to be in life. It is so important. It is so critical that you have to make sure that you are completely honest with yourself. Be real with yourself. If you have a problem with drinking alcohol, you need to say, hey, I'm a drunk. I'm an alcoholic. I stopped working, and I allowed this to happen to my family. I need to do better. I need to get help. You cannot afford to have justifiable negative behaviors. You cannot say that this is a situation of the economy. You cannot say that this is a situation of life. If you have an issue that caused this bankruptcy, any good bankruptcy attorney, any good counselor will make you become real with yourself and to really see what caused this. Yes, bad times happen. I understand that. There are some people who have filed bankruptcy because of medical bills. I understand that. Yes, that happens. People have filed bankruptcy because of foreclosure prevention. Yes, that happens. However, those cases are there and they have its place. However, what I've seen in my career, when I sit down across the table from a young lady or a young man who are 30 or 40 years old and they have 3 kids, and you sit down and you look at what caused the destruction in their finances, it was a lack of discipline and a false sense of reality. What does that mean? That's the young lady who goes to get her hair done and her nails done religiously, regardless of the fact of she needs to cut off of her bills or cut down on her budget. It is extremely important that you examine yourself. Look in the mirror. Are you a lazy employee? Did you lose your job because you were being lazy? Did you lose your job because you were using someone else's time? I understand that this is tough, but this is what you have to do to examine yourself. Yes, sometimes companies fail. I've been a part of companies that have failed. Is that your fault? No. There is a prayer that they teach when you come out of recovery. It says, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. You need to understand what is your fault and take responsibility and ownership of your fault, because if you do not, you will become a victim of moral hazard. What is moral hazard, Mr. Cole? This is my second time hearing you say that. In the finance world, there is a such term which is called moral hazard. What moral hazard means is that if we bail you out of this situation, what is it to say you won't go back to that situation before? The banks, when they were doing the large bailouts to the banks, the biggest issue they had with the Fed was, what about moral hazard? If we forgive this $500 billion worth of debt, what is it to say that you're not just going to go out and create more debt and have what we call golden parachutes, which were these employees or these executives that were making tens of millions of dollars a year, got the bailout money, and then had they closed the business down and took $100 million as a walking away, or a golden parachute is what they call it. That is the grand scale of things when we talk about moral hazard. But look at the moral hazard today. You are able to file bankruptcy and 7 years later file bankruptcy and 7 years later file bankruptcy. I have pulled people's credit reports where I have seen 2 and 3 bankruptcies because they were not able to look in the mirror and be honest with themselves. God knows your issue. You know your issue. And I would bet money that your spouse knows your issue. Your spouse knows the issues that you have. And your kids, if they're old enough, they know your issue as well. It does not matter what people say about you as long as you're willing to change what they say. It does not matter what people say about you as long as you're willing to change what they say. What does that mean? If you are a drunk, or you're an alcoholic, or if you're addicted to crack cocaine or heroin or smoking weed, or you're addicted to sex, if you're addicted to fooling around with other men and you're a married man, if you're addicted to fooling around with other women and you're a married man, if you're addicted to fooling around with other men and you're a married woman, or you're addicted to fooling around with other women and you're a married woman, you're able to change. Look at what you are doing that is affecting your family and your finances. Everything you do goes back to your finances. This is why it's so important that you examine yourself. That's why it is so important that you look at yourself so that you can change the negative habits that you have. Let me give you an example. If you are a woman and you are in an extramarital affair and people are talking about that, your husband knows about it, your kids know about it, you're spending money on this man, you're going on trips with this man, and your bills are suffering because of it, you're contentious at home, you're able to change that. Break up with him. Let him know he's not worth it. You're able to fix anything, change it. Your financial platform and your credit is nothing but a progress report with how you deal with your everyday life. If you are a man and you are addicted to heroin, or you are addicted to gambling, you are addicted to gambling, and it is causing your family ruin. It is so important that you examine yourself. If you do not like the conversation about yourself, change what they are saying. It does not hurt if it's not true, but it hurts if it is true. What does that mean? You're going to have people that hate on you. You're going to have people that talk about your past. Oh, you went through a bankruptcy. Oh, you went through a foreclosure. Oh, you never amount to anything. That only stings if it's true. But if you make the resolution and the resolve in yourself that no matter what, I am going to focus. I am going to become the master of my credit. I am going to become the master of my destiny, and I'm going to change those things about me. Then guess what? Those words do not define you because they are not you. They might be who you were, but they are not who you are becoming. Old things are passed away, and behold, all things are made new. The most powerful anthology known to human history, the most life-changing literature that has sold over billions and billions of copies says that old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. When you make the decision in your life today, not tomorrow, not next week, but when you make the decision to change today and you change your habits today, it matters very little to be judged by somebody based on your past. And I understand that that's great and it's a lofty idea, but this is what you have to say to yourself when you go through public situations like this. Tough times never last, but tough people do. Who cares what they say about you? It might have been true about you, but it is not true about you. What does that mean? It might have been true that you were addicted to crack cocaine, but it's not true about you now. It might have been true that you were cheating on your spouse, but it's not true about you now. It might have been true that you were addicted to pornography, but it's not true about you now. Think about the things that you're doing that's affecting your family. It all goes back to your family, to your finances. Now, yes, there are situations where people get into medical bills and they have issues with their medical bills and they have to pay those off and they get all these medical debts and they want to file bankruptcy on that. That's understandable. That's fine, yes. Or there's a situation where you're about to face foreclosure and you want to keep your home because you have such sentimental value in your home and you have a good sentimental value in your home and you have equity in your home and you don't want to lose it, then yes, then you're able to file bankruptcy to keep your home in those cases. But you have to make sure you examine yourself. Remember this, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept things that I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. It's extremely important when you have to file bankruptcy or when you look at yourself in the moral hazard. Yes, there are times where jobs have gone away and you've exhausted all of your resources and you've filed unemployment and your unemployment, you got an extension on your unemployment and then the unemployment wore out and then you file for EBT or food stamps and you've used your food stamps and then your food stamps run out. Yeah, there are opportunities, there are times when that is warranted to file bankruptcy. However, you have to make sure you look at yourself and you change the negative habit, because how many people know that if you're in the middle of the ocean and if you have a hole in your boat and you're drowning, it does not matter if you have enough buckets and enough pumps to take all the water out the boat unless you plug the hole. It's so important that you plug that hole. Figure out what is causing you to have this issue, what's causing you to have this problem, and fix the problem. Do not worry about the symptoms of the sickness. Get to the root of the sickness. When filing bankruptcy, this is the type of talk that you should have with yourself. Who cares if no one else is listening? Who cares if someone else is listening? This is what you have to examine yourself. You do not want to keep doing the same thing that you've been doing and expecting different results.